talk today about keeping deals together. As the market shifts, it's going to be harder for sellers to keep deals together on their home because it's a slew of issues. It's a great topic. I'm glad you brought that to the table today. Have you seen some transactions falling apart lately? And if so, what's causing them?
Yeah, I have, unfortunately. I mean, as you mentioned a couple seconds ago, I practice in a few states, and this is really all I do. So, I have seen it more than I wish. Unfortunately, I mean, I have, I got some transactions in Rhode Island, in Florida, that are, for one reason or another, are not closing the way we'd expect. I mean, minimal requests for additional time. And it's not necessarily, I think, an issue that is strictly a buyer issue or strictly a seller issue. It's just a mixed bag. But if there is a delay, these delays these days, are like domino effects. Because, especially for a buyer, I mean, there's two perspectives on these things. A buyer having to extend can expose the buyer to extra cost on a mortgage payment. They expect to close within the time frame that's set forth in the contract and purchase and sales agreement, and that's what they are striving for. Everybody is, I think, in good faith, but the market is different right now. That it's shifting, and with the shift, we I mean, can run into situations where like the shortest extension might cost, some money. I mean, either in terms of a rate lock extension fee or or higher interest rate. What does that mean for, for the parties? I mean, certainly, I mean, if I were a buyer, you obviously, have reasons for moving forward with your purchase. I mean, and hopefully the reason is that, you need a new place to live, and lots of times it's an upgrade. You're moving into into an area that, because of a job, so there's certain circumstances that you need to move forward with it. You can't just, pull the plug if there's a delay, and by the way, delays are lots of times, if it isn't a buyer related delay, then it's a seller related delay on the title, and it's something that you have to clear the title before you can purchase. You can't, and you can't just close and then deal with it later. I mean, that's usually not, how things like that work. If you're a buyer, and there is this extra cost involved, in deciding whether or not to proceed with your purchase, which, you may have no choice but to do that, because of the circumstances I just mentioned. I think then you have to consider reaching out to the seller to decide, what we need to get there. I'm committed to purchasing your property, but how do we get there to make it so that we are both happy with the outcome? Honestly, sellers need to be a little more open-minded these days, to understand that it's not the same market that we had 6 months ago, where it was your say or the highway. It's not like that anymore at all. We really need to be very, very cautious, I think, to test the waters again on cutting a ready, willing, and able buyer off, and going on the market to see what you'll get, because what you may get is less than what you had. And to be aggressive or to be and not have the consideration to understand that where the buyer's coming from, might cost you some money, and it's not worth it. Depending on what's holding up the transaction, it might dictate, who has more of the brunt to pay, I would say, so that would be the, and that's how I counsel people, when they're facing this kind of situation. Like I said, it's not that it's only New England properties. It's Florida as well. You see it everywhere, and because we all have similar circumstances that are interfering with our transactions now.